Marvel just leaked a new Spider-Man fight where Hulk turns grey and a mutant freezes all of New York. Peter Parker might be the only one who can stop her, but his own powers are changing in weird ways. By the end of this video, you'll know every big moment from the trailer, including why Punisher shows up and who survives. Hey guys, the first leak that made my jaw drop is about a brand new Spider-Man power, a web tornado. Now I'm not talking about him shooting a few extra lines. According to the leak, Peter's powers start changing earlier in the movie. Something inside his body is mutating. He doesn't know why. He can't control it at first. But by the final act, he figures it out. He shoots out so much webbing and spins it so fast that it turns into a giant swirling vortex, like a hurricane made of sticky spider silk. The leak says this scene is one of the biggest visual moments in the whole trailer. Buildings get ripped apart, bad guys get stuck in place, and Peter stands in the middle like he's controlling the weather now. Is this from the comics? Kind of. There's a storyline called The Other where Spider-Man goes through a weird biological evolution. He gets stronger, he heals faster, and he can do things he never could before. Marvel might be pulling from that, and if they are, this web tornado is just the beginning. But here's the real reason Peter needs a move like this. He's usually the little guy in a fight. He punches way above his weight class. In this movie, he's going up against a Hulk that's bigger and meaner than before, and a mutant who can freeze an entire city just by thinking about it. So a web tornado makes sense. It's a crowd control power. It lets Peter affect a whole battlefield at once without just punching harder. The leak says he uses it to slow down Grey Hulk long enough to save some innocent people. But here's the catch. Making a tornado that big might completely drain him. He might pass out right after. We don't know yet, but honestly, just seeing Spider-Man do something that crazy on screen would be worth the price of a ticket. Alright, let's talk about the big green guy, except he's not green, he's grey. According to the leak, Bruce Banner has been living as Professor Hulk ever since Endgame. Smart brain, big muscles, no rage. A lot of fans miss the old angry Hulk who would smash first and ask questions never. Well, it looks like Marvel might be listening. In the Brand New Day trailer, Jean Grey enters Bruce Banner's mind. She mocks him, she provokes him, she pushes every button he has, and at one point she takes temporary control of his body. But instead of turning into the smart Hulk we've seen for years, he transforms into something else. Grey Hulk? In the comics, Grey Hulk first appeared in the very early Hulk stories, before the green version became the standard look. Grey Hulk isn't just a color swap, he's actually more cunning, more aggressive, and way harder to predict than either Bruce or the normal green Hulk. The leak says this version is also physically larger than Professor Hulk. Peter Parker apparently even comments on it during the fight. He says something like, "You look bigger, that's not good," and the fight itself is massive. Grey Hulk levels buildings. He causes destruction everywhere. He even unleashes a thunderclap so powerful that it collapses an entire structure. If Marvel is really taking Bruce back to a more primal, out-of-control Hulk, a lot of fans are going to be very happy. This could be the redemption arc people have been waiting for. So who is Jean Grey in this movie? The leak says she's being held inside a DODC facility. That's the Department of Damage Control. You've seen them in other Marvel shows. She spends most of the movie trying to escape. But here's the twist, she's not a hero yet. She's not a villain either. She's just a scared young mutant who discovered her powers in a terrible way. The trailer apparently shows her as a teenager. People treat her like a weapon, not a person. They run tests on her, they lock her up, and eventually she snaps. This is very different from the X-Men movies we've seen before. In those, Jean Grey was already part of a team. Here we are watching her origin happen in real time inside a Spider-Man movie. That's smart. It lets Marvel build up to the X-Men slowly. When the real X-Men movie comes out, we'll already understand why Jean is so dangerous and why she's scared of herself. Now let's talk about the most insane moment in the leaked trailer. According to multiple leak summaries, Jean Grey unleashes a massive psychic wave across New York City, and it appears to freeze everyone in place. Imagine thousands, maybe millions of people just stopping, mid-step, mid-sentence. Their eyes are open but nobody is home. The leak says this is Jean using her telepathic powers on a massive scale. She's not killing anyone. She's just temporarily overwhelming their brains. If this is true, that would make her one of the most powerful characters ever introduced into the MCU. We've seen mind readers before like Professor X in the old movies, but nothing on this scale. And here's the really interesting part. During this scene, Jean speaks directly to Spider-Man. She says, "I want you to remember your responsibility. Never forget that no matter how powerful you become." That line hits hard because responsibility is the entire point of Peter Parker's character. She's quoting his uncle's famous lesson back to him. This is where the leak gets really interesting. That line about responsibility makes a lot of fans think Jean Grey isn't the real villain of the movie. She might be a frightened, incredibly powerful mutant who's trying to survive. She's not trying to take over the world. She's trying to escape the people who locked her up. But because her powers are so strong, she keeps hurting people by accident. And the trailer supposedly shows her regretting it. There's a moment where she looks at all the frozen people, and you can see fear in her eyes. She didn't want this. If Marvel plays this right, Jean Grey could become a tragic character, someone we feel sorry for even when she's doing scary things, and that would set her up perfectly for the X-Men movies later. Because when Professor Xavier finally finds her, he won't be recruiting a hero, he'll be saving someone who's lost. Now here's the part that makes Peter the most important person in this movie. According to the leak, Peter Parker might be the only person Jean Grey can't control. Throughout the trailer, multiple characters say things like he's the only one who's immune and he's the only one who can sense it. Fans believe they're talking about Spider-Man. Jean can jump from mind to mind. She can control cops, random people, and even the Hulk. But when she tries to get inside Peter's head, something blocks her. So why is Peter different? The leak doesn't say for sure, but fans have a good guess. Remember what happened in Spider-Man No Way Home? Doctor Strange pushed Peter's soul out of his body. His consciousness was gone, but his body kept moving anyway, dodging, fighting, reacting. Doctor Strange was shocked. He said something like, "Your spider sense is still working even without your soul." That means Peter's danger sense is deeper than normal thinking. It's almost like an automatic reflex. So when Jean Grey tries to take over Peter's mind, his spider sense probably screams at him right away. He feels the intrusion before she can finish, and that gives him just enough time to fight back. He might not be truly immune. He might just be the only person who can feel her coming and stop her. Either way, that makes Peter the one variable Jean Grey can't predict. And in a story built around mind control, that makes him the most dangerous person on the board. Let's switch gears. One of the most emotional leaks is about Peter's secret identity. At the end of No Way Home, Doctor Strange cast a spell that made the whole world forget Peter Parker. Not just the public, but MJ, Ned, Aunt May's memory of him, everyone. Since then, Peter has been completely alone, no friends, no support system, just him and the spider suit. So when the leaked trailer opens with Peter saying, "My name is Peter Parker, but I'm also Spider-Man," that's a huge deal. It means he's finally choosing to trust someone again. The leak doesn't say who he's talking to, but some fans think the voice that responds, "God, that's so awesome," sounds a lot like Ned Leeds. If that's true, Peter is trying to get his best friend back, and after everything he lost in No Way Home, that would be a beautiful moment. Now here's a twist you probably didn't see coming. The leak says that at one point Jean Grey warns Peter that she might pay a visit to MJ. Peter doesn't know if it's a threat or a warning, but he's not taking any chances. He immediately finds MJ and tells her she's in danger. Then, and this is the wild part, he takes her to Frank Castle. The Punisher, yes, that Punisher. The guy with the skull on his chest who shoots first and doesn't ask questions. Peter believes Frank is one of the few people on Earth who can protect MJ from someone as powerful as Jean Grey. That tells you how scared Peter really is. If this leak is accurate, it would explain why the Punisher reportedly has a much bigger role in Brand New Day than anyone expected. He's not just a cameo, he's a bodyguard. The leaks also say that Jean Grey and Peter Parker have a complicated relationship throughout the movie. She's not a straight up villain who just wants to kill him. Instead, she keeps running into him while she's trying to escape the DODC. Sometimes they fight, sometimes they talk. At one point, she apparently says something like, "You're the only one who doesn't look at me like a monster." That's a huge clue. Peter has always been the hero who sees the person behind the powers. He tried to save villains like Doc Ock and Sandman. He gave Mysterio a chance. So it makes perfect sense that Jean Grey would be drawn to him, even while she's a threat. If Marvel writes this well, their relationship could be one of the most interesting parts of the movie. Not a romance, just two broken people who kind of understand each other. Let's step back and look at the big picture. Marvel is using a Spider-Man movie to introduce a major X-Men character. That's smart. It lets them test the waters before a full X-Men reboot. If fans love Jean Grey in Brand New Day, then when the real X-Men movie comes out, people will already be excited to see her again. The leaks also suggest that Grey Hulk isn't a one-time thing. If Bruce Banner is reverting back to a more primal, dangerous Hulk, that could lead to a World War Hulk storyline down the road. Fans have been asking for that for years. And Peter Parker? He's finally rebuilding his life. He's making new allies. He's unlocking new powers. This could be the start of a whole new era for Spider-Man in the MCU. So here's my honest take on these leaks. Some of them sound incredible, like Grey Hulk and the Web Tornado. Others, like the Punisher protecting MJ, seem weird but possible. The most believable leak is Peter being immune to Jean Grey's powers. That fits perfectly with his Spider-Sense history. The least believable, a giant web tornado that levels buildings. That feels like something a fan made up because it sounds cool. But hey, Marvel has surprised us before. Either way, if if even half of these leaks are real, Brand New Day is going to be one of the most talked about Marvel movies in years. Now I want to hear from you. Which leak do you think is real, the web tornado or the mind freeze? And do you want Grey Hulk to replace Professor Hulk for good? Comment below. Let's argue about it. And if you want more Marvel leak breakdowns as soon as they drop, hit that subscribe button. I'll be watching the trailer the second it comes out. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one.